Overture, cut the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Overture, cut the lights. This is it, we'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
Hey, this is Goose with On With The Show. How y'all doing today? It's our weekly Friday get-together where we talk about movies, some TV, and hopefully get some community theater involved also. So before I get started with, before the movie I saw that opens this weekend, I wanted to express my condolences to the family of Aretha Franklin. I normally don't talk music, but she was an icon nonetheless. I got a chance to listen to a lot of her music during the 80s when she had that just great revival of her music, and she is someone that will sorely be missed. Rest in peace, Aretha. We will certainly miss you. All right, let's, as I like to say, this is Goose Scott with On With The Show. We're coming to you from the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame and KernCast.com. We're brought to you by Patriot Bail Bonds. If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail. Let's talk about the movie I saw today that opens this weekend called Mile 22. It stars Mark Wahlberg and is directed by Peter Berg. And this movie was getting a lot of play as far as the trailer was concerned about this agency that's like a ghost. Overall, the film was okay. I mean, it is advertised as an action film and about a secret government agency that does the things that nobody else wants to do. They don't want to. They don't want to admit that they exist, and they are outside a lot of the purviews of certain government agencies, and the agency's called Overwatch. So first of all, if you already know, there's a video game called Overwatch, and so I kind of thought maybe that's what the movie was about. But it delved into a lot of different issues concerning, espionage and who do you trust, and spies and all this other stuff. And I will give my overall feeling of the movie, and that it's okay. It is what it is. It's an action film. It's an hour and a half long, and it's, there are a lot of shootouts, a lot of great hand-to-hand combat. It's okay. I mean, the story basically is about a guy who has information, and he wants to, it takes place in Southeast Asia, and he wants to be flown out of the country. He wants immunity in the United States, which is something that a lot of people talk about nowadays with our immigration policies. And he holds basically this place hostage because he knows where certain nuclear dust is, and he will not give the locations until he is safely on a plane to the United States. And he has to go 22 miles to an airstrip to be extracted into the United States. This film is very much like another film that had come out a while ago, and I mean, I can't even. It was so long. I know it's probably maybe the early 2000s possibly, but the movie was called 16 Blocks. And in 16 Blocks, it stars Bruce Willis and Mos Def, and Mos Def plays a witness to a crime that has to get to court, and Bruce Willis is a disgraced cop that just basically has to take him 16 blocks to the courthouse. And in those 16 blocks, he encounters all kinds of craziness where people are just trying to kill this witness, and in the course of getting him there, he finds out that there's just a crap load of police corruption that this witness can talk about, and that's the reason why basically the Willis's character was the one that was given the project, and that because they figured that this guy, well, he'll be a pushover, he'll be easy, and we'll be able to get to the witness, and he'll die. That's basically almost the same thing here. It's the same plot line with just a few more guns, a couple of explosions, and Mark Wahlberg. Basically it. The problem, and before I get into my problems with the film and why I think it's just okay, is because I'm going to tell you about some of the things I did like. I did like, the action sequences were really well done, very choreographed really well. The editing is very well done. It keeps you in the loop when you're going through, 2 or 3 different stories at a time. And you're trying to figure, and it kind of weaves its way, to where everything makes sense in the end. That's really good editing, and then Peter Berg does a really good job of directing. The problem I kind of have is that the acting in itself was a little stale. It was like I sat through this, and I was like, I've seen this before. This is nothing new. This is just kind of the same thing, but dressed differently. And the biggest problem I had with the acting is the fact that Mark Wahlberg was just, he was unlikable. His character was not somebody that you could get behind. He was a no-nonsense kind of cop that had rage issues, anger issues. Okay, we've seen that before, but at least we kind of embraced the insecurities and the flaws in our character. This was a guy who was like, beyond no shadow of a doubt, just did not want to admit that he had any problems or any faults whatsoever. And he got on everybody's ass, and he just basically, I did not feel any sympathy. In fact, I felt more sympathy for the people that worked for him than I did for him. And I don't know if this is by design or what, but it was just, the acting was just kind of stale. It's like, we've seen this before. And I was a little disappointed because I kind of thought, well, maybe we'll get a little more out of this. It's not a bad film. I don't know if I would want to spend $12 for a ticket to go see it. But I mean, if you really want to see, I mean, there are a lot of other action films out right now that you could probably pay better for. But I think you could probably wait another week or so before you see Mile 22, because it's not disappointing, but it's not all that. It's not anything special either. I've seen this before. Tyler, you want to say something?
Well, I just have one question. Do you think this was more average than good?
It was an average film. It was an average film. That's basically what I said. I kept waiting for more to happen. And again, the action sequences were great. The fighting sequences were great. John Malkovich played. He did a great job in this film. I was even surprised as Ronda Rousey was in this film, and she did actually a pretty good job. But it didn't quite. It didn't quite, energize me enough to really, really sit there and say, yeah, this is a great film. I've seen this before, and it just did not make me want to stand up and cheer for it.
It sounds like there was no hype. No hype.
It seemed like it was really well advertised. It was very well hyped, but it just, I just felt that, that what basically they were trying to hide the flaws of the acting with a lot of action. And sometimes that can do more harm than good. All right. Speaking of Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg, I had a chance to see another film that they did a couple of years ago called Deepwater Horizon. Now, this is a great film. This is a film that I had a chance. Not only did I have a chance to see it in the theaters, but I had a chance to see it on TV as well, and I was very excited to see it. And I wanted to, the other members of my family to see it, and my wife saw it with me, and it was a really, really good, well-told film. This film is about the BP disaster in our Gulf Coast, where we basically had 87 days of really environmentally disastrous things going on, and basically what led up to it. And for the fact that we live here in Bakersfield and Kern County, we are a very highly petroleum oil producing county. And so I kind of related to what was going on. I know a lot of people who've been in the oil fields, and I know what it's. They put in a lot of long hours, a lot of hard work, and they're tired. These guys were on an oil rig. They were there for 3 weeks at a shot on this rig out in the middle of the Gulf Coast. And what I loved about this film is that it really, really took you inside of not just, it took you inside the issues of what was going on. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, and again, this is nothing that you probably don't already know, but this rig was 43 days overdue. It was costing BP millions of dollars to run it, and rather than to do the safe thing, because that's what you want to do in the oil fields. You want to be safe. You don't want people to die or lose a limb. BP decided to shortcut it, and it became one of the biggest oil disasters we've ever had in our history. In this case, Mark Wahlberg does a great job of acting. You really stay with him this whole time. You get an idea that he has been through these situations before, and that he knows that these oil execs are not really going to listen to him because they think he's just a lowly educated grunt, and they know better. Kurt Russell does a fabulous job of acting in this. I was really, 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 and I mean, this is one of his best acting jobs I've seen in quite a long time. He really, really, you really, really get to see a chance for him to really shine in this. The other thing about this film and Deepwater Horizon is the fact that there's a lot of foretelling in this film. Things that are very, very subtle. But if you watch the film and even watch it again, you get an idea of, oh, this was something that you knew was going to happen later on because it showed it here, and it showed it here, and it showed it here. And again, the action in this film was by far some of the best. John Malkovich is also in this film. He does a great job of playing one of the oil executives. And really, really, you get an idea of very quickly about how pompous they really were and believing that everything was going to be okay. The action and the effects in this were also some of the best I've seen in a long time. And it is not an easy film to watch because you watch people die in the most horrific senses of the word. I mean,
so basically, you're saying they die in unimaginable ways.
Yes. I'm not going to give away too much of what happens because I really want you to see this movie. But the flow of this works really well. The relationships and the acting of this is some of the best. Again, Peter Berg does a great job of directing this. The editing on this was some of the best I'd ever seen because it takes 2 or 3 different situations and just puts them together where everything flows really well. And if you haven't had a chance to see Deepwater Horizon, I recommend you find it on TV or you go out and you rent the disc. All right, we are going to a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about another film I saw, plus a couple of TV shows I happened to catch up on, and I'm going to talk to you about some community theater events coming up this weekend. So I'm Goose Guy along with the show. We'll be right back after these messages.
I choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
If the best criminal attorneys choose Patriot Bail Bonds, who would you choose?
Patriot Bail Bonds. We fight for your freedom.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license is not going to suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed those, as my friend Kiko likes to say, those words from our sponsors. He did bring up some. What are the words from our sponsors? Today's show is brought to you by the word movie. Anyway, I'm being a little goofy. I'm having a good time. I'm having a lot of fun. I had a chance, again, I was going through the premium channels, and I caught a movie that I had heard a lot about, and didn't have a chance to see it, so I got a chance to see it this weekend. It's a movie called Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. This movie was done...
That's a long name.
Yeah, it's stars Gary Oldman, John Hurd, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Tom Hardy, and Colin Firth. And this movie is considered one of the best. It is a... they like to say it's like a modern classic. And it's also one of the first movies that helped Gary Oldman become established as an Oscar-worthy actor. To basically give a very, very quick synopsis of the film, basically it's basically set in what's called the circus. And the circus, I guess, is the British spy agency. And it's set in the early 70s. They didn't really give a clarification of when it was set in the film. But, and so John Hurt's character is called Control, and he basically is the guy in charge. And so him and Oldman's character called Smiley, they're basically pushed out after an incident involving somebody in Hungary. Goes way south. I mean, it just basically just goes way south. Control and Smiley are pushed out along with other people, and new people are now put in charge. And what ends up happening is that Control dies, and Smiley is asked to come in to basically uncover what happened in Hungary, and basically in the process discovers that there's a mole, and his job is to find out who the mole is without basically getting the circus involved. And if you wanted to see, because a couple weeks ago I had reviewed Red Sparrow, which again I will tell you again is god awful. Okay, don't bother watching Red Sparrow. You'll waste your time and your money. All right, and that's nothing. That's nothing. Not against Jennifer Lawrence. It's just the movie was god awful. But in this case, this movie is really well done because in following this, it's almost like watching a Sherlock Holmes episode because you're able to put the pieces together. You're able to watch how everything comes together, and of course, interesting. I mean, I say Sherlock Holmes, and of course, Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Sherlock Holmes in the BBC series. They do a wonderful job of putting this together. It's well told. It's well acted. Again, Gary Oldman was nominated for an Oscar for this film. And it's just one of those movies where you sit down and you watch it and you become intrigued about all the things that happen, all the people that got involved, and you discover and you find out, okay, who is the mole? Is it this guy or is it this guy? And it's really, really well done. And I think that If you have a chance, just long story short, if you have a chance to see Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, say that 5 times fast.
I'm not going to.
You're not going to. You won't be disappointed. It's a great, great film, and I think you will get a great enjoyment out of watching it. It's one of the better spy films that I've seen, spy thrillers I've seen in quite a while. All right, a couple of TV shows I got to watch, and my wife came home and she had a chance to rent the 4th and 5th seasons of Orphan Black. Let me tell you something. If you've not seen Orphan Black, you're missing one of the best television shows on TV today.
I've seen it too. It's really good.
It's brilliant. It is brilliantly done, superbly done. Put together by the BBC, which stands for the British Broadcasting Company. Thank you. The British Broadcasting Company, and it's basically about a set of clones. That's the best way I can explain this. It is, and they have one person, Tatiana Maslany, who plays all of the pivotal characters: Sarah, Beth, Cosima, Allison. It's just you sit there and you're just amazed at how one actress can embody all of these characters and do it in such a way that they're believable. And what makes Orphan Black, I think, one of the best shows on television is because everything comes out fresh. There's a new episode where somebody gets into something happens. I mean, it's
confusing.
It's just absolutely, and nothing's confusing about it. You watch some of the stuff they all get into as they try to figure out how they're all connected and how they've all come together, and it is just brilliantly done. It is one of the best TV shows on television, period. And if you have not seen it, better yet, if you haven't even heard of it, you haven't even seen it, I know that Amazon Prime Video has it right now. Go to Amazon Prime Video and just stream it, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. If Tatiana Maslany doesn't get a Golden Globe or an Emmy or whatever it is that the television people in Britain give out, she should be getting multiple awards, because this woman can just do it all. She plays multiple characters so convincingly that you know exactly who is who without in one episode. So I encourage you, and right now I'm in the middle of the 4th season, and I'm going to see that. Hopefully I'm going to finish it this weekend and start the 5th season, because this show is just well done. So I go out and get your hands on or stream the first 3 or 4 seasons of Orphan Black. All right, now I'm going to go to another TV show, and I only saw the pilot of it, and I talked about this TV show a couple of weeks ago called Insatiable, and it's Netflix's new comedy. It's basically about a teenager who was, for lack of a better, she was obese, she was fat, and she even admits that the reason she was fat because she ate herself to she has better yet, she has an addiction to food. She has insecurities, and she covers up those insecurities with food. Let's just be honest, because that's exactly what the character says. All right? So I got a chance to see just the pilot. I haven't had a chance to see anything else because this TV show got so much backlash and scrutiny from people who are saying that it's body image and it's going to force people to go into eating disorders and all this other stuff. I now understand why people would say that, because just watching the pilot, it didn't leave me with much to talk about. And here's the thing, because one of the things that I watched when I come into the trailer is they honest to God think that it's about this teenager. That the whole series is about this teenager and the fact that she lost all this weight and now she goes from being a fatty to being real hottie. And that's not the case at all. That's only one story. The other story is about a lawyer who likes to be a beauty pageant consultant. He's a beauty pageant consultant, and he gets disgraced because one of his clients who didn't do so well in a pageant, her mom accused him of being sexually inappropriate with the girl, and now his reputation is ruined, and he wants to redeem himself by finding somebody else that he can bring back the glory of the pageant, because that's what he really wants to do. Okay. Furthermore, his wife, because I've met or I know of some people who are in the pageant industry. I've never met them personally. I know some, and a lot of these men who are in the pageant industry are usually gay. And yet this guy is straight, but he acts. This is going to sound. He is an effeminate male. I'll just say that.
Interesting.
He's an effeminate male. Okay. The third story is about his wife, who is jealous of this other woman because she's a PTA mom and she has the money, and her husband is the hottest guy around. And, oh, I want to be with him. And this TV show is so goofy and so silly that it's almost over the top. The decisions that these characters make no sense whatsoever. Let me give you a couple of things, okay? The reason this young lady lost all the weight, and I'm going to spoil this, okay? There's spoilers. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil this for you. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to do it here. The reason this young lady this fat girl lost all the weight is because she punched a homeless guy who wanted her candy bar. And so what he do? He punched her back, broke her jaw. Her jaw was wired shut, so all she could eat was a liquid diet. That's how she lost all the weight. All right? Her revenge is now that she realizes she's so hot, her revenge is now to get even with all the people that picked on her and bullied her. By basically being hotter than them.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense. There we go. This goes further. When she meets her lawyer, the effeminate pageant guy, she falls in love with him. She wants to be with her lawyer, who is like a guy. She's like a teenager at high school. He's a guy probably in his 30s. Okay, I can get that. I understand. Okay, maybe she's got a puppy love crush. No, she wants to get the wife out of the way so that she can be. This is ridiculously stupid. Okay, now let's go to the lawyer guy who, again, he's been disgraced, and one of his competitors, she invites him. This young lady invites him to her house. When he gets there, her parents are not there, and she gives him 21-year-old scotch. And then she goes, "Hey, do you want to see my new outfits? They're upstairs." What is the next line he says? A grown man going upstairs to a teenage girl's bedroom is probably not a good idea. No kidding! Especially when you've already been accused of being a pedophile. Okay? The writing in this, I don't know what they're going for. The show is goofy. It's like they're trying to spoof Desperate Housewives. A lot of the stuff that happens doesn't make sense. The teenager, Debbie Ryan's character, her best friend sends out all the signals that she's in love with her, and yet she doesn't pick up on them. I don't know what everything and again, this is just from the pilot. Okay, let me give you another thing. Debbie Ryan's character, the hot girl, finds out that the homeless guy, is he's at AA now, and he's sorry, and I wouldn't be here if I hadn't punched a fatty in the face. And then, of course, what is her decision to do to get revenge on him? Go have sex with him.
Really?
Really? How much sense does that make?
No sense whatsoever.
It's like you're going to go lose your virginity to some guy. I mean, this entire thing. And again, the character also has this affinity for Drew Barrymore movies, which, by the way, I understand. I love Drew Barrymore. I think she's a fabulous actress. But there comes a point in the show where even the goofiness becomes absurd. You can't understand why these people are making such bad choices, only for the fact that they want to regain the glory that they once had. They want revenge on the people that have wronged them. It doesn't make sense,
From what you're saying about this, it sounds like the show is not going to be good.
I don't know. Like I said, I've only seen the pilot, and the pilot is this absurd. I don't know if I want to see anything further. Nothing has been established that this is going to be an arc. Of redemption or forgiveness or revenge. I don't understand what's going on. It's the absurd, again, the goofiness of the whole thing. And again, the only thing I can explain is this got to be a spoof on Desperate Housewives. Because I can't understand how much more absurd this show can be. All right, I'm already a little bit over. Let me talk to you about some things coming up in Bakersfield for as far as theater is concerned. The Streets of Bakersfield Comedy Showcase is tomorrow at the Rocket Shop Cafe in South Bakersfield. There are auditions for It's a Wonderful Life at the Moo Barn in Lancaster. This is like some tiny writing. The TCT Second Space. They're having auditions for Sherlock Holmes in the Case of the Christmas Carol this weekend. Coming down a little bit more. Your Good Man Charlie Brown. They're playing at the Stars Schools of the Performing Arts. That is this weekend, and also playing this weekend is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Also at the let me see if I get this right, the BMT Stars Theater here in Bakersfield. So go out and catch a live show. We need to keep supporting our arts here in Bakersfield. And what better way to do that than to go catch a show? Okay, again, my name is Goose Scott. This is On With The Show. We're brought to you by Blue Sky Media here at the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame at Kerncast.com. I will see you next week. Go out and catch a show.
Overture, cut the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every card by heart. Overture, cut the lights. This is it, we'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.